This is Ravens Flock Talk Podcast, coming to you every week with their thoughts and opinions on each and every Ravens game. Tune in weekly and join the flock.
You are now listening to Ravens Flock Talk. I am your host, Brandon, with my co-host, my dad, and here we go. So, first game after the bye, home game, finally a home game. We had two great road wins. We come back to the bank, and I mean, it's honestly like this team was still in the bye. I mean, did we wake up? There was no sense of like urgency. It was just flat. It was flat all around. But, you know, a win is a win, as they always say.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. I'm coming off the bye. I'm figuring we got all this intensity at home. Now, it's cold. And then Lamar looked like he was a little bit ill, sick, whatever you want to call it. But boy, did we come out flat, Brandon. Unbelievable on a bye week with all that preparation time. You figure we got all this intensity at home. But, you know, we've had our problems at home.
Yeah. I mean, it was, as I mentioned to you, it was kind of like that classic Ravens game when back in the days we didn't have a quarterback, where you're hoping that the defense can pull this out for us. You know, where the offense is looking flat, you know, you're not going to get anything from them. I'm not saying our offense is much better than those days, but it was like a classic low-scoring Ravens game, and it was kind of surprising to see, given the fact that this Panthers team is horrible, and Baker Mayfield, you know, is not very good. They only have a couple threats on offense, DJ Moore being one of them. And I will say, though, you know, with the addition of Roquan, this defense now is really looking good, much better than the beginning of the year.
Speaking of the defense, it goes back to the coin toss for me. When you have a defense like this and you win the coin toss, go ahead and back them up on their first drive and get the ball kicked off for your offense. So, you know, trust in your defense. When you win the coin toss, you know, you automatically come out in the second half. If you have some momentum going into the third quarter at the half, hey, you know, that's what defense is for. So I didn't like the call right off the bat where we went on offense after winning the coin toss, and then here, you know, we just we were stalling, we got stalled, and then it's flat. We came out flat.
Well, I think in terms of that, I mean, honestly, I don't even think the coin toss matters as much, especially with a team like this. I mean, either way, you're going to get the ball back, and you just have to make plays at the end of the day, whether you're playing a good team or a bad team. And, you know, a lot of the fans I'm seeing on social media are calling for Roman to be fired. And, you know, I mean, you're going to have games like this. You're going to have ugly games, and you got to win ugly and you got to win pretty, you know. And I'm honestly, I've seen much worse from Roman. I honestly have. And I think a problem, too, is that when you don't have the running game going, you know, Drake is up and down. He's hot and cold. Yeah. Lamar, nobody on the team had over 50 yards this game. So the running game really opens up this offense more. And with JK being out and Gus, it makes it harder. And I think people are not, you know, putting that into account.
Yeah, I think in the mid-second quarter, Drake had -2 yards. So that says it all right there. Maybe the weather conditions had a part to play in this with the wind conditions and the ball spiraling around, you know, on passes, and you saw a lot of incomplete passes. And so, hey, you know, I'll say that sometimes cold weather does affect the game plan and does affect the score too.
And I was actually getting too far ahead of myself, you know, being that we didn't have an episode last week due to the bye. Just want to reply to some comments that were left on our last episode. Hunter Locked, Ravens are the best team ever, Super Bowl is ours. You know, there's the Super Bowl talks being circulated around the fan base. Another one I wanted to highlight is Noped, N-O-P-T, Roofless. He said that he gave our channel a sub, and I support the family, but I honestly agree, Marcus Peters is scared to tackle and hesitates. And yeah, we definitely agree with that, but, you know, ironically, he had the strip. Maybe that's due to the fact that he didn't want to tackle the guy. But hey, it worked out. It was a big turnover. I think it was a still tight game at the time. So, hey, you know, you got to give and take when it comes to Peters. That's the stuff that he does since he doesn't want to be physical. But, you know, the defense made plays this game.
Yeah, on that point, it was a funny thing that happened because again, I didn't think he wanted to tackle the guy because he knew he had people in the back behind him that could cover for him, and all he tried to do was strip the ball, and it worked.
Yeah, yeah, man. I mean, the two big injuries, one defense, Kyle Hamilton, and then Stanley gets rolled into again. There's some rumors, I would assume they're rumors being circulated around saying that Stanley said he's okay, but we don't know until we actually get actual official word. But hopefully he is. I mean, honestly, I was telling my dad, we've been playing without him for 2 years, but as he predicted.
Hey, I told him he wouldn't make it through the end of the season, but I'm giving him credit because when he was out there, like the story goes, when he's out there, our team is unbelievable. But he has to stay out there, Brandon. And it's unfortunate that Lamar got blocked into him on that same exact ankle, and now he's waiting for an MRI. So
yeah, and Lamar was even stated that he's feeling bad and this and that. But hey, I mean that's football. That's what happens. It's not his fault. And
it's encouraging that he's not limping around saying gloom and doom. So hopefully the MRI is negative and he can get back on the field in a week or so, or whatever the case may be. Because we really do need him on the blind side. He's been effective, so I'll give him that.
Staying on the side of defense, is there anybody you saw this game, good and bad? Like if you wanted to highlight a player or just overall,
This game was obvious. Patrick Queen with the sack, and Roquan has made a big difference in this defense in terms of intensity, experience, and I think Patrick Queen is getting the benefit of Roquan being next to him and helping him out.
Honestly, you took the words out of my mouth, and I even mentioned to you, it kind of reminds me of Lawrence Taylor, and I always forget the guy's name, but the middle linebacker on that Giants team is, Lawrence just wanted to attack. He didn't want to, call the plays or worry about coverage and stuff. He just wanted to attack. And I think with Queen's speed, because he's fast for a linebacker, and Roquan having the smarts that he does, being the veteran he is, it frees up Queen. He doesn't have to worry about dropping it because he's not good at that.
It makes him a better player. I mean, they switched him from outside to inside where he can shoot the gap. Excuse me. And Roquan, he's a perfect fit for him. And with his experience and smarts, I mean, look, he did the playbook in 2 days. He learned the playbook in 2 days.
And from the sound of what the commentators have been saying and stuff, just his presence has changed everything. They're not seeing what a leader is. This is like what I'm talking about. We've been missing since Ray Lewis. Yep. See how this guy operates, how he learns the playbook, how he plays, how he carries himself. And so, I mean, this is the pickup of the year. And we've had mid pickups. Last year, I'm thinking of Ngakoue didn't do much. Yeah. So finally, we got a guy that can come in right away and make the impact he does.
I can't agree with you more. And you asked me now who was kind of weak on the defensive side, or strengths and weaknesses. The verdict is out on Kyle Hamilton. He's good when he's up at the line blitzing. He's a good tackler. We might even say he's a great tackler for his size. He's very physical. But I just feel like, he hasn't really produced as a first-round pick. And, he has no interceptions, I believe. I don't think he's had an interception yet this season. So, and then now he's hurt, which is a bad sign because I think that was kind of his bio in college a little bit. But needless to say, I'd like to see a lot more production out of him in the back end safety.
Yeah. I can't disagree with that. So to switch sides on the offensive side, this was a struggle. I won't say Lamar played horrible. There's some people saying this is why you can't pay him and this and that. But come on, you're gonna have games where you're not lighting it up, and this guy wins 70% of his games. He's a freak athlete. He's a threat. People act like quarterbacks come, a dime a dozen. No, quarterbacks come a dime a dozen. So who else are you going to get if you don't pay this guy? So let's slow our horses on that. He didn't play horribly. His completion percentage was good. He had that freak interception, which I don't get on him at all for. I just don't know what happened with the offense. Like we were talking in the beginning, that they were airing it out more down the field, and now it just seems like there's a shift, you know?
Yeah, it just seems a little bit stagnant, but I agree with you because I'm not going to criticize a Lamar Jackson when you know in Ravens Nation, he's our only hope. When you're watching a game, you know he can make that big play. He's smart. And he's physical, even on his touchdown run, he was so physical to get that 2-yard run.
Yeah.
So
that was actually set up by Drake, his best run. You know, because he's struggling the entire game, and we finally got one to break through for Lamar to punch it in at the end. I will say, you know, on the offensive side, the first drive, as I mentioned in previous episodes, kind of seems to dictate how this game goes. It seemed like we were going to score. And then boom, we don't score. And then the drive right before halftime, less than 5 minutes. The drive right before half can't punch it in. And then somewhere in the third quarter, around the 5-minute mark, Lamar gets a great pass on the sideline, and it's called back off of a BS face mask call on Moses. Then he gets sacked right after that, and we get out of field goal range. So it seems like we were shooting ourselves in the foot this whole game on critical drives where we're getting the momentum going, and you're thinking, all right, here we go, finally, and stop short.
And on that note, all I want to say is penalties killed us. We got to clean that up. Every time we got momentum, Brandon, we were running down the field, we got a stupid penalty, pass interference, face mask, you call it, we had it. So that, and I want to just say how Humphrey came big time on this game with that big interception. We needed
to really seal it.
To seal the deal on a touchdown.
I mean, I feel like the game was kind of already out of reach at that point, but, you know, it's just cool to see defensive players making plays, just to put salt in the wound, the Pierre-Paul interception. I mean, it was funny seeing Baker's face on the sideline, but hey, I've been vouching for this guy, Demarcus Robinson. Finally, another big game since his Tampa Bay game. 9 catches, 128 yards. Mark Andrews had 6 catches, so it's good to see those guys get involved.
I can't believe we took this long to really give him his props because he was a beast. He's the reason why we won, and then Andrews coming back from injury.
Yep.
Those 2 players are the reason why we won. We also won on Lamar's legs as usual, and the rest is history. You know.
Yeah, and you know, like we're getting Justice Hill involved in the passing game out of the backfield. That's where he's best, as you mentioned. The only concern on the offensive side is, one, we only put up 13 points against a horrible team. And in terms of a player, Isaiah Likely, man, I mean, the talent that this guy has, and yet he's just evaporates. And even Devin Duvernay.
Yeah, I saw something on the Ravens website where they want to get him more involved. No kidding. I mean, this guy, he's a playmaker. Right? He's a playmaker. You've got to put him in a position to make plays.
I don't think one time, you know, we usually have him on those swing handoffs. He's coming in motion. Lamar gives it to him. He can get a good 8-10 yards right there, not one of those. Just something, an easy play to get him involved. A screen pass, something.
Yeah.
And, you know, with Andrews being out those last couple games, you would have thought Likely would have stepped up tremendously. He only had one game where he really was highlighted. You know, with Bateman out and Jackson, who knows what with Deshaun Jackson, but we got to use everybody that we can. It's not like as we have a premier guy outside of Andrews.
I was just hoping with Andrews' injury that would prove we have other players that can make plays. So, you know, it's okay to see Andrews do his thing, but then again, when you really look at the bigger picture, we need other people to step up.
We really do. We really do. But I think when we get Gus and JK back, it's going to open up a lot of things. Cleveland lost. Cincinnati, unfortunately, won. They're still on our heels. But they have a tough couple games coming up. And they got the Kansas City game coming up. They play Cleveland. So, yeah, I mean, I prefer our schedule over there. So hopefully some teams can come through for us. I know they also play Tampa Bay, too, later in the season. So next week in Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, the golden child, the chosen one. We'll see what we can do with him. I know he's a threat on his legs, too. Much better than Baker Mayfield already. So we'll see if this team is going to wake up
Yeah.
But
let's not take this for granted. I don't care what record they have, who they are.
No game.
This is the games you have to win, not could win.
And as we mentioned, give us a cushion.
Yeah, you give us a cushion because if you in our division, if you falter a little bit, this is the cushion you need.
Yes. And even though Pittsburgh and Cleveland are not doing so well, those games are always going to be hard. Yeah. Always. Yeah. For some odd reason, no matter who the quarterback is. So, like we said, a win is a win, but, Ravens, we want to see much improvements. I think the fan base is like, finally, this game is like, yeah, I'm glad we won, but come on, guys.
So, Brandon, we're set up good in the division because we beat Cleveland, right?
Yep.
So if we beat them again,
and Cincinnati,
since I'm not, did I say Cleveland? I meant Cincinnati.
We beat both. We haven't played Pittsburgh yet at all.
Right. So I'm just saying, I'm focusing on Cincinnati because that is critical. Isn't that the last game we played?
It's the last game, and it's crazy because if we're already solidified, that game's not going to mean anything.
Right.
But so honestly, it's all a matter of us winning games and just hoping they lose.
Right. Well,
because we're not going to play them
by the games that we won versus the division.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I'd like to have both. Right.
Yeah. I mean. Just really quick, if you were to look at Cincinnati's schedule, as I mentioned, next week they're playing. Actually, no, I was wrong. They play in Tennessee.
Oh, wow.
That's a tough game.
That's a tough game.
After Tennessee, they play the Chiefs.
Okay.
Cleveland. And then they go in Tampa Bay.
Wow. In Tampa Bay.
And then after that, in New England. It's going to be really cold.
Oh, wow.
And then Buffalo and us. So they got to go through Brady, Lamar, Mahomes, Josh Allen.
I like the fact they have
Tennessee's no joke
for us. So.
Yeah, and Tennessee's no joke. So that's why I said I prefer our schedule. This is our time to really, because if they lose a majority of those games, they might not even get in the playoffs. Yeah. So. We'll see. We'll see, Ravens fans. Hopefully we can pick it up. This defense shows out again, and this offense can really help our defense and not make this game closer than it needs to be. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the subscribers and the comments. We love to see the engagement, the comments. We love the reply. And seeing you guys are enthusiastic. This season has been fun.
It's been a lot of fun. And the main reason is Lamar. So let's just have fun with Lamar, see where he can go. Ravens Nation, this is a fun year just to watch them. They're starting to do their thing. Hey, we can't ask for more.
Man, when the playoffs are coming up, I mean, the anticipation, the excitement, you kind of know who's going to be in, who's going to be out, who's on the verge.
Well, last year was devastating with all the injuries. We had no hope.
Exactly.
So this is a hope. This is a hope. Everybody rally around them.
And guys coming back just before the playoffs at the right time. So, I mean, this is it. This is a two-team division right now going to the end. And this is all for bragging rights at this point.
Brandon, I always told you, it's far and few between to get these opportunities in certain years. And if we can stay healthy and get our folks back and get them going in the groove like they are, this could be the year at least to go deep into the playoffs and hopefully the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I mean, as good as Kansas City is and Buffalo,
I'm not scared of them like
nobody.
I used to.
Yeah, exactly. They don't look like the true powerhouse they were years ago, where you just like, damn, what are we gonna do? So any team can be beaten. You look at Minnesota; they played tremendously. Miracle game against Buffalo, then they got blown out with Dallas.
Yeah, you have to have a lot of luck and talent. I hope we can combine that. For a good run going into later in the season in late December. This is where it counts.
This is the final
stretch. It's
cold.
It's nasty. This is Ravens type ball, right?
Exactly.
So let's do it.
All right. Thank you everybody, and we will tune in next week.